All right, welcome. This is Becoming Great. And Great is a next generation charity, if you are new to this. And that is a company that is giving away 100% of its profits to charity. And this episode is about how do you create a company like that. And my name is Emil, and I'm the host of this podcast, and I'm doing it with my good friend, my boss, I want to say overlord, Eric Bergman, the founder of Great.
Eric. Secret love.
Secret love, yes, of course. Secret.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here as always.
How are you?
I'm very good. As I told you before, I got some swollen knees because I tried to win a Thai boxing yesterday, and I didn't. Other than that, all good. How are you today?
To me, it's very brave doing MMA, fighting against bigger guys. I would look for tiny girls to avoid those swollen knees. I'm good. We did some warm up today before this podcast, and I feel energized. Now, I have a good friend of mine, and he and his wife, they just got a baby, beautiful couple. And I visited them 4 years ago now. And when I did, she was just this little lump, and forgive me all you baby people, but to me this thing seemed kind of useless. It just didn't do much, cried like a Tamagotchi. And then I came back 1 year later, and now it's a bigger useless lump, and it can do more damage. It's like moving around, destroying things, getting in trouble. And now, third year, she's actually like kind of a person. She can handle an iPad, do things. You obviously see where I'm going with this, right?
Obviously, it's so easy to understand how this relates to Great.
Yes.
Okay, I'll give it a try to explain where I think you're going with this. So, Great is this little lump, and this is a monthly update of what's going on. So this is basically Emil coming back for Christmas to visit his friends. And a couple of months ago, we were a really useless little lump, and we just lost money and we didn't achieve anything. Today, we are a less useless lump. We still lose a lot of money.
Do more damage.
We're losing more money actually than we did before. But we're growing into something that will become a human or an organization. And today we will talk about the progress we've made from really useless lump to less useless lump. Am I getting you correctly?
That was plain as day to me. That was well put. So before we jump into what is going on with Great, a short update. Have you learned something? And this podcast is focused on me and Eric learning things together. Have you learned something the last month that I am unaware of?
Good question. That's the challenge of talking with you too much. Yeah, well, I've learned a lot of things about launching a new website, like how to actually interact and project manage that thing and being a part of that. And I've also learned how quickly it can happen when you're using WordPress. I wasn't aware of how fast they would launch that. So WordPress is this simple CMS system with a free open code for anyone to use.
What is CMS? I'm a noob.
Try to explain the WordPress part. CMS, I have no idea what CMS stands for. So CMS is, it's the blueprint of building a building. It's the walls of a building, we can say, of the website. So the foundation of everything, and then you can put whatever colors and glitter and windows and stuff on it if you want. But you need the CMS to be the kind of basic framework to work from. And there are tons of different ones where WordPress is the main one. So I've learned a lot of things about that. How about you?
This seems like a whole this seems like a whole episode, and I'm obviously a noob here, so
yeah, we're gonna need to have someone else to tell that episode, because I basically told you everything I know about WordPress.
Right. Alright, so what I have learned that you know of or that you're unaware of?
Go with something I'm unaware of, because that's a lot harder to answer, apparently. I need to struggle.
Okay. I'll give you something that you are a little bit aware of, and that is I've been fasting this week, and I've realized some things that I haven't understood before. And that is kind of imagine you come home, right? You had a tough day at work, you take off your jacket and you throw it at the couch. No big deal, right?
No big deal.
Have you done that?
Always.
All right. So imagine next day you come home and you throw your jacket at the sofa. What happens? Not much. 10 years, every day you throw your jacket at the sofa. All of a sudden,
you get broke because you bought 1,000 jackets.
You get broke and you break. And that is what I've kind of realized, that you need to clean sometimes. But what is required in order for you to clean? Well, you need to stop doing other things, right? And when you stop doing other things, and in your body, this is a metaphor for your body, that is called fasting. And when you fast, apparently you go into a state that is called autophagy. And that is kind of a new concept, weird enough. Some dude or dudette got Nobel Prize for this in 2016. And that's the process of your body when you're not eating. It's cleaning up your cells and removing all the junk and reusing things and putting your jacket back on your hanger. And I learned a lot of things about what triggers autophagy and what is preventing it. And if you are a nerd like I am, I'm a health nerd, I will give you 2 links in the description below if you want to read up further on autophagy. There's actually kind of a lot of things you wouldn't expect that triggers it and that prevents it. So that my nerdy brain is into this month.
Basically, to sum it up, you're not eating because it's healthy not to eat.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you want to give a short tip to you who listen, don't eat. Don't ever eat again. It's healthy.
That sounds ridiculous, but it's probably the healthiest thing most people could do is just to not eat for 10 days. 10 days is tough. Start with 4. Huh?
Have you struggled not eating, or is it easier than you thought?
I haven't done a long fast this month. So
Okay.
it depends on how I do it. But this is not a health podcast, so
it's really not.
Let's.
Curious.
I'd like to talk more about this at some point because it's interesting. But for now, oh yeah, we're talking about Great. That's it. So what is going on with Great, Eric? What is the main new cool thing?
The main new cool thing with Great. Okay, so as I mentioned, we've been doing a lot of stuff with WordPress, and we're actually launched a new website, which is something we've been postponing for a long time because we felt like, yeah, let's do that later. And that's going to be too much work. And that's going to blah, 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 blah. And Derek and Angelica, who works in the team, got started with it, I don't know, 3 weeks ago maybe. And they launched a new version in, I don't know, 4 days, 5 days. I was like,
and if you haven't checked it out, it looks super sweet. I know nothing about websites or design, but I know I like it.
Yeah. So what the issues with the old website was that was something that I put together myself because I needed something up there when we bought the great.com domain name, and there were no big plans, no real thoughts, and whoever has been visiting it have not really understood anything what we're doing. And I still think it's a challenge to understand what we're doing, but at least now you can get something from it. What was your impression when you saw the website?
It looks much clearer, and it's much easier to understand what this organization is about if someone comes in that is new to this. So when we have a new website, what that causes, the change that causes in me is that if I meet someone and I talk about Great, I'm more likely to say, well, go and check out great.com and you will get an understanding. Before, it didn't really make sense to do that. I think that would confuse people even further. And by the way, you might still be confused if you look at the website, because Great is a little bit complex. So if you are, please let us know if you have any feedback on the website. You can send an email to podcast@great.com.
Yeah, I still think it's very confusing, to be honest. But it's because we're running a confusing project.
Yeah.
But it's less confusing.
That's good.
It's definitely less confusing. So that's
What
a good thing.
do you think about the new website?
And my main thing is still it's less confusing.
Yeah.
But they've been giving a task of making whatever we're doing right now easy to understand, which is very challenging.
Yeah.
And they've only been working with it for a few weeks. But I'm super impressed with how far Derek and Angelica has gotten this. And they've done it all on their own. And yeah, I'm just in awe of how fast they've been accomplishing this.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very happy with the results so far.
The only
It's
thing
fun
in
to see.
hindsight, oh, sorry for interrupting you, but the only thing in hindsight, if this took 4 days, why didn't we do it earlier?
We should never look in hindsight. It's just
Keep
make
moving
us
forward.
regret.
Ignore.
Because I didn't want to listen to Derek when Derek said he can do this really quickly. And whenever a developer says, I can do this really quickly, in my experience, that means it's going to take 10 times as long as I tell you. And then it's going to have a lot of functionalities that we're never going to use. That's how projects has been
And
developed.
you will be dependent on us for a long time.
Yeah, so I have to say, I didn't believe that it would go so quickly. So in hindsight, I should have believed and just trusted.
Yes.
But yeah. So that's one of the main things that you can see on the outside that's been going on.
What else is up?
So another big thing is that we are recruiting a great leader, as we call it, a CEO, CPO, COO. I don't know which title to use for it. I'm not a fan of titles.
Supreme
And-
Commander.
Yeah, Supreme Commander. Is that the name of if you're the Lord in Star Wars?
I don't know, to be honest, but it do sound cool.
Okay, what we're going for is think of great as the Death Star,
Yes.
and we want to find a Darth Vader, but a nice one who can turn the Death Star into pink and fluffy cotton. That's so. If you listening wants to be a pink and fluffy Darth Vader, send another email to podcast@great.com. Regardless, that's another thing that I've learned a lot about this month is recruitment, because I was really hoping to hire a guy I've been working closely with in the past, and main reason for that was that I know he's really, really good. Second reason was that I didn't need to learn recruitment, so I could hire someone else. And that failed for various reasons. And I felt, okay, I need to really learn recruitment, because I've hired a lot in the past, but I've never learned about it. I've just went into it and done a lot of mistakes. Learned a lot by doing so, but a lot of mistakes. So I've been reaching out to various friends that have a lot more recruitment experience than I had. And I've sat down with each and every one of them for an hour, maybe two, and really picked their brains and created mind maps of things about recruitment. And I feel so grateful for them helping me, and so fascinated of how much knowledge can be extracted by just maybe 5 hours, 8 hours into this. So we have a good-ish process now to hiring someone. We have one candidate that we've gotten really far with, and hopefully we will reach an agreement with him over the next month or so. And that's a very big thing for us.
That's a
So
huge
those
thing
are
for
two of
Grey.
the main things happening.
That can cause us to get moving with a lot of projects. And it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting how I know how down you were when the candidate that you wanted didn't wanna do this. But now when he said no, you got this opportunity to learn a whole lot of things about recruitment that otherwise you wouldn't have done. And we're not going to go too deep into recruitment because we have done a whole podcast on this, and we're going to do more episodes on recruitment in the future. So if you are interested in this topic, check out the last podcast we did on recruitment. It's going to be renamed, but look for the word recruitment and you will find
I
it.
think it's episode 12.
12?
I'm not sure, but I think it's 12.
Cool. And there will be a 2.0 version of that podcast as well. But for now, that's huge. That means that we're going to be able to move forward in many ways. Which main positive things do you see that unlocking for Great in the future?
So the main reason why we haven't launched a website before is that I have wanted this kind of leader person to come in and be involved with those strategic decisions. Why are we doing this or that? And being involved with launching a new website so we don't have to redo it all over again just because we're waiting for this person. Now we decided to start launching things anyway, and we've made the decision of going with WordPress, at least for now. And that was one of the decisions that originally we were holding back on. So what will happen now is that once he gets started, we will start developing the commercial product that will be the heart of Great, in a sense, that will be able to pump out the blood to everything else we do. So we need that to kind of earn money to be able to fund all our projects, all our ideas, and make everything else happen. So without the heart, we would really struggle. We would survive for a while, but we would struggle. So that will be his first project, is to take charge and project manage the development of the commercial side of the business, which will hopefully launch first small version of it after the summer sometime. That's the intention.
That's going to be really exciting, because then it's going to feel like we're actually moving forward. And to me, that is more like the engine of the great car, and the heart would be the people, the drivers. Sorry for improving your metaphor.
Yeah, if we can put an engine in there, let's say it's the pacemaker.
Yeah.
So we'll meet in between, the engine on the heart.
We meet in between.
But yeah, I agree with you. It's more the engine, depending on what we look at the entire project as.
Do you have something more that is new about the Great Leader that you want to add? Or because I know some things have been going on with OKRs as well.
I think that's about it for the Great Leader. Yeah, if you check out the podcast episode, the number 12, you'll learn a little bit more about this. But yeah, other than that, we've been so we started with OKRs, this objective and key result system to set goals that Google is using. And I've never worked with that before, and neither have anyone else in the team. So we set it up in January and did it for the first quarter. And I would say that we managed to use it fairly well, and we managed to come up with a lot of things that we failed at and didn't do very well. Where the main one, I would say, was that we didn't have a clear strategy or clear purpose for the entire organization for those 3 months, which meant that it was hard for the individuals to align with the kind of company goal.
Right.
So the intention with the OKRs is that you set a company goal, and then each individual in the team gets to set their own goals, and they're all intended to align with the company goal. And we didn't really manage to do that. So some of us worked towards the company goal, and some of us worked in other directions. And this, I would say, was a big shift, because we followed up on the OKRs in late March, and we've been setting new ones now until mid-April. And now we finally got everyone working, I would say, in a very good and the same direction. So that shift and really looking into the OKRs and understanding them, I feel that that's been probably the most valuable lesson from the first quarter of this year.
Yeah, setting clear goals, especially when it's a remote organization where there's a lot of responsibility for the individual. So there's an awareness where we're going.
Yeah, it's a system that gives a lot of flexibility, but then it also demands a lot of trust and ownership of your own goals. But I like it. I think it's... So basically, to sum up, what we've done then is developing the goal setting system a lot more, and feeling that we're aligning a lot more with the strategy, and setting the strategy, as well as getting everyone to have a buy-in in the strategy, I would say. So that's been a very important part where we didn't succeed before, and which was one of the reasons that OKR systems didn't work as well as it could have done.
Got it. And may I move on?
Sure, move on.
Cool. So we also made a donation from Great this month. What donation have you made?
Yes, so for the first time we did a big donation in the name of Great. We've done various smaller things, but this is the first time that we do a bigger donation. And see how much detail we want to go into this. Oh, I can share quite a lot about it. So let's start in this direction. Just think about this for a second. If you wanted to give away as much money as possible to charity, what would you do then? How much money do you think you would be able to raise? So this question was something that David Goldberg, the founder of an organization called Founders Pledge, asked himself 4 years ago in 2015 when he started the organization Founders Pledge. And since then, they have raised $1.7 billion for charity.
With a B?
With a B, the big B one. And that's like, that doesn't happen. I'm so impressed with that. To go from 0 to 1.7 billion in 4 years, I mean, that's like starting a football team in the 7th division and winning the Champions League in that time frame. And it shouldn't be possible is my impression. Sorry. So I've asked myself, how did they do this? And wanting to know more about this. So when you think of charity, what are some reasons you think that people don't give?
They don't know where the money will go, or they don't feel connected to the cause.
Yeah, I think that's two big ones as well. I mean, for me personally, trust has been a very big one, which is basically you don't know where the money will go, and knowledge about what's going on, what is the charity, how are all of these things, has been another main one. And these are the questions that Founders Pledge have really focused on to help people understand. So they teach about organizations that are the most trustworthy and where the donations will make the biggest difference. And if you imagine a world where more people donated more money to charity, just think about this for a second, and that's like, who would you say is the most important people that they were giving them?
I would say rich people or influencers.
Yeah, I agree. I think rich people and people who can influence a lot of people, and that could be influencers in social media then. And it could also be entrepreneurs who have a big team and a lot of people around them that will see what they're doing and these kind of things. And Founders Pledge have focused on entrepreneurs. So if you educate one entrepreneur, then that's like influencing the bee queen of a beehive. If you get that bee to fly somewhere, all the other bees will follow. And Founders Pledge have gotten entrepreneurs to understand more about this, educated them, and been good at getting them to donate money by setting up networking events and education systems and all of these things around it. And everything that Founders Pledge does is free, but they ask for one commitment and one thing for everyone to become a member. And that's to sign a pledge, with its legal binding agreement to donate money in the future. And this is often tied to when the entrepreneur sells their company. So for example, if they sell the company for $10 million 5 years from now, then they will donate $1 million. But they don't donate anything today. So to date, they have gotten 1,500 entrepreneurs to sign these kind of agreements, and that's the total pledge value of 1.7 billion.
Wow.
So those 1.7 billion haven't been donated yet.
But it's legal.
It will be donated.
Wow.
It's legal binding, yeah. And out of this 1.7 billion, $357 million, and that's with an M, dollars have already been donated to charity from these pledges. So there are many organizations focusing on educating bee queens or entrepreneurs in this sense, but Founders Pledge have managed to find this angle where they where they inspire them to make a promise for the future, so they can focus on the business today, focus on making money today, but still contribute in a bigger sense and be part of this community of other entrepreneurs who want to make a difference. So if Founders Pledge raise all this money, and why did we then decide on donating money to them? So we decided to donate $100,000 to this organization, and the reason is that Founders Pledge doesn't raise any money for themselves. They just help other people to donate to others. They're just giving away their knowledge, not asking for anything. But we want to support them and making sure that they can pay their salaries, pay their office, pay their daily operations, so that they can keep helping and keep raising these funds for others, and in that way save our planet, cure diseases, protect animals, and help people in need, all of these things. But if they can't pay their salaries, they can't do that. So we go in and we help them rather than anyone else. And I believe that this is, let's say we were just giving our money away to a cause. We gave our money away to help people in need. Then that would be like giving away a potato. We can give it away once and it could be eaten once. But if we give this potato to Founders Pledge instead, the way I see it is that they will put this into the soil. They will water it, they will nurture it, and it will grow. And then in the future, they will be able to reap tons of potatoes from this one and collect them. So by donating $100,000 to them today, that will very likely become millions of dollars in future donations and making a much, much bigger impact. So that's the first big donation we've done. And you who listen, if you want to read more, go to founderspledge.com and you can learn more about that. So that's a big thing we're doing. What do you see about this? What's the upside and downside with a donation like this?
Awesome. We'll add a link to Founders Pledge in the description below. Upside and downside. Well, I think your potato metaphor said it all, and I do think this donation can have a bigger upside than donating directly to a cause. I guess the downside is that it's a bit more tricky to explain. Let's say we were giving food to someone that is hungry. That could be summarized in one sentence. It could be summarized in one picture. Now this took a couple of minutes to explain. So I guess it's more challenging to understand. That would be the downside.
Yeah, I agree. I struggle. We spoke about this in the team some other day, and it was clear that it was hard to connect with it. Like it doesn't feel as meaningful to help like this. And I agree, and that's one of the biggest challenges with charity, that some of the most efficient causes is very hard to get an emotional connection to, and it's not that sexy to donate to it as well. I mean, if you're donating to helping people in need that really suffer, that you can really see, it's easier to talk about it. It's easier to make a good impression with it or get publicity. And this one is not.
And it feels like if you donate directly to a hungry child, you give them food, then it feels like you have done that. If you donate to Founders Pledge, it would feel like someone else did it. So I think if you are I think this is a great opportunity to do extra good if you're able to set yourself aside in this equation. To not do it for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's challenging. I struggle to connect to this myself. And I believe they will make a far bigger change, or they will accomplish a lot more with that money than if we gave it away somewhere else. But I am struggling to feel the connection to the change it's making. It's easy to just see less money in the bank account. Hard to understand the change that it's potentially doing. And yeah, I put a lot of time in thinking about how to communicate this and talk about this, and I wouldn't say that I've managed to even do it in a way that it really that it really connects with myself yet. It's that hard to do, and then it's even harder, obviously, to tell it to someone else. It's tricky. But yeah, so that's been one of the main things going on this month, or this couple of months. Do you have anything to add to that?
No.
Let's move on.
But I'm sure that is a strong donation, and it feels good to get started with the giving from Greats.
Yeah, I like it too, and I think we've been talking quite a lot about this, and donating with the brain or donating with the heart. Like, donate in the smartest way possible that might not feel so much, or donate with the heart, that is, donate in a way that it feels as much as possible, but it might not be making as much difference.
Yeah.
And this is a clear donation with the brain. It's hard to feel this. And so we did another donation 2 months ago, and that was for, I've been supporting an orphanage in Uganda for a couple of years, and one of the girls in this orphanage got hit by a motorbike and had to have surgery, and there were no money to pay for it. And the surgery was, I think it was $1,500, something like that. So a lot less money. And we supported this girl with that money. She could have the surgery, everything went well, and everything, she's so happy. And then she sent us a picture with her holding up a paper saying, "I am great" on it. And just that picture alone was so much easier to connect to, and feels so much more valuable to me personally, and I imagine to the organization as well, even though it's a very, very small thing compared to the other donation, and will only impact one person or the people around her, where this donation probably will impact thousands of people one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's one of the big challenges of charity, and something that we will battle a lot with.
That picture paints a nice contrast. So I'm sure we'll talk more about this in future charity episodes. So do you have something more you want to add on this topic now before we move on?
No, we can move on.
All right. So we're coming towards the end of this episode, and let's move back to some personal stuff. And for the question I want to ask is, who have inspired you this month, and why?
I'm gonna go with a book, and I don't remember the author's name, so I can't answer who. So I'm gonna say The Bookman. I've been...
Great way to give credit.
The Bookman. I barely remember the name of the book. Yeah, I do. Okay, so I listened to a podcast where Tim Ferriss interviewed Noah Kagan. It's an old podcast, and they spoke about the book, The 22 Immutable Laws About Marketing. And I've never heard about this book before. And there was a blog post about this that Tim Ferriss had posted that had a summary of the book. So I've only read the summary of the book.
Sounds interesting.
And one of the things that was stated in this summary was that people don't give a crap about what is better. People care about what is new. And what they meant with that was that if you're launching a new project, then don't think about how you can become better than the existing one. Think about how you can launch something completely different.
That appears to be different.
That appears to be different. So And I think that this is valuable to anyone who wants to run a company or do anything within business. I think this is a good thing to keep in mind. I mean, imagine if you're starting a soda company and you're basically gonna sell water with sugar in it.
Yeah.
And there is this teeny tiny company who is pretty good at this, and they're called Coca-Cola. You might have heard of them. And then there was this other teeny tiny company that wanted to sell sugared water as well, and they're called Red Bull. But instead of then entering the soda market, they more or less created energy drinks.
Yeah.
And became the energy drink instead of becoming the soda company. And there are thousands of different examples like this, where suddenly everyone cares about the new thing and not so much doing it better. Trying to do something better than Coca-Cola is probably going to be a big thing. And I've never thought about this way before. And they said that don't think about what you can do better, think about how you can do something new. And this completely shifted my perspective in the commercial side of Great. So Great will build a casino marketing platform, easy to say. Like think TripAdvisor for casino. That will be our commercial business, the engine that Emil referred to. And I've been doing that for 10 years. And I've been thinking about ways to improve a lot of, okay, how can we do this better than they are doing? Only thinking about improving. And I haven't even contemplated the thought, what can we do completely differently? And focus on that. So what the book says is come up with something new and own that category. That you will be the first one doing that. Be the first energy drink instead of another soda. So I've spent the last couple of weeks just thinking of completely new things we can do that no one else is doing that might not be the best things to do. They might not make the best product, but they make the most sense from a marketing perspective and will raise the most awareness. Like, oh, have you seen these guys? They are doing this new thing. Instead of, hey, have you seen this guys? They're doing it a little bit better than someone else.
Yeah.
So that's been a very big inspiration for me.
That is very interesting. And Great can really reap benefits of that because we are doing a lot of things that are new.
Yeah,
and then market
everything
that.
We're doing is
that's very interesting.
And so what they say is create the category and then market the category.
Yeah.
So if Red Bull is not the best example, but I'm going to stick with it because I've said it already. So if you're launching Red Bull, we're going back, 50 years or whatever it is. Don't market the brand Red Bull, but market the category energy drink. So you become the category in a sense. That drink so you feel energized.
Drive
that
a Tesla.
Kind of becomes yeah, exactly. If you're Tesla, then you don't need to market Tesla as a brand. You market electric cars.
Yeah.
Because now, if anyone thinks about electric cars, they don't think about the BMW i8 electric car.
Yeah.
They think about the Tesla.
Yeah.
So if Tesla only communicates electric cars, they've already gotten to top of mind. Everyone, or at least more or less everyone, thinks about Tesla when they hear electric cars. So it's the same kind of mentality. Like, how can we then come up with something that is fundamentally different from the other guys? We might do what the other guys are doing as well, but we focus on coming up with that. So it's been a big inspiration for me, and probably the biggest inspiration I've had from a product perspective in years.
That is very interesting. I'd say let's do a newness episode. This could be a whole episode where we talk about this and how that could impact Great.
Yeah, I'm not going to give away all the newness things yet, because then they might not be new when we put them out there.
It's true.
Yeah, so we'll do newness when we launch.
Yes. That's a good idea.
I think that's been a very big inspiration for me. And it's been cool. How about you? What inspired you this month?
Well, yesterday I wanted to share with you when we were talking what I was grateful for. And I said I'm grateful for the internet. Because the internet is giving so many people opportunity to reach others. So, like I said in the beginning, I'm a bit of a health nerd. So
you're a nerd in every category.
I'm a nerd well, not in every category. I have a few categories that I like, and in those categories I'm a nerd, and in all other categories I'm useless, like literally useless. And so I'm watching this guy that is doing videos about health, and the channel is called What I've Learned. It's a great channel on YouTube, I'll link to it below, and I'll also link to your 22 immutable truths about marketing. So they will be in the description.
You're gonna need to put so many links into this.
Yes.
You're gonna remember that?
Yes, but they will be down there somewhere. It's
I
our.
trust you.
We have a minion. His name is Frederick. He will do all this. Silly Frederick.
We love you, Frederick.
Dance for us. Anywho, so a person that is a complete nerd can spend a ton of time just reading science reports and putting through all of this amazing knowledge and create a good video. And then he puts it out for free for anyone to know. So I can watch a 15-minute video that someone spends 50 hours. I don't know how much time he spent on that video. And I get it for free. And it's just such an amazing opportunity to give value for a lot of people. And so I'm really grateful for how that is possible. And it also makes me a little bit sad. Because when I think about that, I think around 1 million, between 1 billion and 2 billion people have internet today. I think around 1 billion. And imagine all of the rest of the 6 billion people then that could have access to the internet, that could have. Imagine if everybody lived a middle income lifestyle and had opportunity to do these kind of things that they loved. Imagine in 20 years if there are 10 billion people, no one is in extreme poverty, and there are 10 billion people that can spend their time giving away value like this. Then there would be 10 people like this guy. Imagine how much good stuff would be out there. Imagine if these guys collaborated. And man, just that idea gives me fuel for great. I see how important it is to end extreme poverty, to give more people a chance. And whether that is a poor village in Africa or a disadvantaged neighborhood in the US, imagine if everyone had that kind of opportunity. How much good inspiration and quality would be out there. He says 3.2 billion internet users. I read 1 to 2 billion like 2 days ago, Frederick, but thank you. Anyway.
A lot of things have happened in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
Who would have known 1 billion more people would get it?
Cool. So let's put it this way. Imagine that if there was 10 billion people with opportunity to use their free time to follow their dreams. That would be a cool world. And yeah, so that got me inspired to do more with great, to help end extreme poverty and to give opportunities to those who are
disadvantaged. So the question was, who inspired you? And I answered with a book, and you answered with internet. Basically, what inspired you?
Well, it was this guy, What I've Learned. I don't know his name, but it's a YouTube channel, What I've Learned. And he made me inspired to end extreme poverty.
That's a good thing to inspire someone to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Selfish altruism. I want better videos. So let's end extreme poverty.
Let's end poverty so you can learn more about fasting.
Yes, egoistic altruist. That's a new brand. Egoistic altruism.
Yeah, and just market that category.
Yeah.
Give because it's good for you.
Yes.
I'll buy it.
I like that. All right. So if you that is listening have any more questions about Great, what's going on or what's going to happen in the future, or if you have any feedback or praise about this episode, please send us an email to podcast@great.com. Do you have something more to add before we wrap this up, Eric?
No, I'm going to give a high five to anyone watching on YouTube.
Yes,
and
YouTube land.
Then all thanks for today.
Yes.
Cheers.
Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao.